Welcome back, children. Let us continue with the line-wise paraphrasing of Act 1, Scene 2. Now, this scene opens in Belmont, where Portia, a rich and beautiful heiress, resides. She shares with her maid Nerissa her doubts concerning her future due to the strange provisions of her father's will. According to the will, she is to be won by the suitor who chooses correctly from among the three caskets made of gold, silver, and lead. Portia ridicules the suitors who have come earlier to try their luck, showing her disapproval. When Nerissa reminds her of Bassanio, she remembers him and has tender thoughts for him. The scene is in prose and deals in indirect explanations and characterizations. This scene takes place in Belmont in a room in Portia's house. Enter Portia and Nerissa. So Portia begins, by my troth, Nerissa, my little body is aweary of this great world. By my troth means I swear by my faith, Nerissa, that my little body is aweary. Aweary means tired of this great world. I'm really tired of this world. So Nerissa replies, you would be sweet, madam. So she says, yes, madam, you would be tired of this great world if your miseries were in the same abundance as your good fortunes are. That is, if your bad luck is in the same abundance, means it is as plentiful as your good luck is, you would definitely be tired of this world. And yet for aught I see, they are sick that surfeit with too much as they starve with nothing. So she says, but as far as anything I observe, that the people who surfeit with too much, means who are overfed with too much, they are also sick, just like the ones who starve with nothing to eat. It is no mean happiness, therefore, to be seated in the mean. So she says, I feel that it is not bad luck or bad fortune if you are placed in the middle of the two. That is, you neither have excess of anything nor do you have less of anything. Superfluity comes sooner with white hairs. Superfluity comes sooner by white hairs, but competency lives longer, which means that a person who have too much of anything, that is superfluity, excess of anything, they will age sooner, they will get white hair faster. And but competency lives longer means those who have just enough wealth, they have a longer life, they do not become old very quickly. So Portia replies, good sentences and well pronounced. So she says, well, these are very good words and you have spoken them very well. Nerissa, they would be better if well followed. So she says, these words would be still better if they are obeyed in the correct sense. Portia, if to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, means if to follow what is good to do, we know what is good to do, but if it was easy to follow that thing, then the chapels had been churches. Then the small chapels are very small churches, they would have been as huge as the churches. And poor men's cottages, the princes' palaces, and the small huts of the poor men, they would be as beautiful as the palaces of the princes. It is a good divine that follows his own instruction. Good divine means a priest. So a priest is good if he follows his own instructions, means his own teachings. Then he is an excellent priest. I can easier teach 20 what were good to be done than be one of the 20 to follow mine own teaching. So she says, it is easier for me to teach 20 people, that is what is good to be done, than being one of those 20 people whom I have taught in order to follow my own teachings. So it is easier to teach than to follow. The brain may devise laws for the blood. So the brain means the mind may frame rules for the body. The brain may make rules for the body, but a hot temper leaps over a cold decree. But a hot temper means the heat of desire. It makes a person disobey these dry laws. Cold decree are dry laws. Just such a hair is madness, the youth, to skip over the meshes of good counsel, the cripple. So just like in the impulse of youth, a person skips over or disobey the snares or the traps of good advice which is given. Just like a hare, it skips over being caught up in a snare, being caught up in a trap. But this reasoning is not in the fashion to choose me a husband. So she says, but this kind of reasoning, this logic is not appropriate for me in the choice of a husband for myself. And then she says, oh me, the word choose. So she's feeling that, oh, very sad for herself, that poor me, what a kind of word choose is for me. I may neither choose whom I would nor refuse whom I dislike. She says, for me, the word choose does not make any sense, because I cannot choose a man to get married to whom I like, nor can I refuse to get married to the man whom I don't like if he chooses the correct casket. So is the will of a living daughter curbed by the will of a dead father. So she says, in this way, the will means the wishes of an alive daughter are curbed, means are controlled by the wishes or the desires of a father who is dead. Is it not hard, Nerissa, that I cannot choose one nor refuse none? So she's asking Nerissa, don't you think it's very difficult for me that I cannot choose to get married to a man I like, nor can I refuse to get married to the man I don't like if he happens to choose the correct casket? Don't you feel it's bad? Nerissa, your father was ever virtuous. So she replies, pacifying Portia, that your father was a very pious person, very pure person, and holy men at their death, they have good inspirations. And such pious, good people at the time of their death, they get divine guidance. Good inspirations means divine guidance. Therefore, the lottery that he hath devised in these three chests of gold, silver, and lead. She says that therefore the lottery of caskets, that is the choice of the caskets that he has made in these three chests, means the three caskets of gold, silver, and lead, whereof who chooses his meaning, that is, whoever chooses the correct casket chooses you. Whoever chooses the correct casket chooses you, and will no doubt never be chosen by any rightly but the one who shall rightly love. And I have no doubt that the correct casket will be chosen rightly, means correctly, only by the man who truly and honestly loves you. But what warmth is there in your affection towards any of the princely suitors that are already come? She says, but tell me, do you have any kind of special love towards any of these princely suitors? These princely suitors means the eligible bachelors who have come over here to make a choice of the caskets. Do you like any of them specifically? Portia says, I pray thee, that is, I request you, overname them, means you call out their names, and as thou namest them, I will describe them. And as you call out their names, I will give my comments about them. And according to my description, level at my affection, and according to my comments, you conclude what kind of love or affection I have for any of these. So Nerissa mentions the first. First, there is the Neapolitan prince. So she says, first of all, I say there is the prince from Naples, that is the Neapolitan prince. So Portia gives a comment about the Neapolitan prince. She says, Aye, that is a colt indeed. She says, yes, that man, the prince of from Naples, he is a colt, means an inexperienced young horse. For indeed he doth nothing but talk of his horse, because he does nothing except talking about his horse, and he makes it a great appropriation to his own good parts that he can shoe him himself, and he thinks that it is he adds on to his own merits that he can shoe the horse himself. So he is like an inexperienced young horse. Nerissa. Then there is the County Palatine. So she says, okay, next I call out the County Palatine, that is the Count from Palatinate. So Portia gives a comment on County Palatine. He doth nothing but frown. She says he does nothing except frowning, as who should say, and you will not have me choose. As if the expression on his face is as if he were to say, if you don't want me, choose anyone you wish to get married to. He hears merry tales and smiles not. He listens to very happy stories, but still he does not smile. I fear he will prove the weeping philosopher when he grows old. Now, here is an allusion of the weeping philosopher who was Heraclitus of Ephesus. He went to live all alone on the mountains because he was distressed by the stupidity of the mankind. So, Portia says that County Palatine, he is going to become another weeping philosopher when he grows older. Why? Because being so full of unmannerly sadness in his youth, because he is full of unpleasant sadness. Unmannerly means unpleasant sadness in his youth. I had rather be married to a death's head with a bone in his mouth than either of these. She says, I should rather get married to a skull with a bone in its mouth rather than getting married to any of these, that is Neapolitan prince or the County Palatine. God defend me from these two. Defend means protect. May God protect me from these two. So I end this video over here. In my next video, I'll continue with the line-wise paraphrasing of Act 1, Scene 2. Thank you.